one and all. It's Jennifer here at Eureka Astrology and Healing, and today we are going to be doing the Virgo full moon astrological forecast. The Virgo full moon is on March 7th, 2023, 6:40 a.m. Central Standard Time in the United States. And adjust your times accordingly. There are definitely going to be some astrological aspects that are going to be very close to this, so I think it's important to take note if you are doing any full moon rituals, and you want to be as close to the time as possible to do them if you are doing that. So with that, I want to say this is a general forecast. This is just a broad overarching energy of the time, and things may be happening before or after that I'm talking about, because you have to remember it's not a vacuum, and these energies can, as they're making their way into a situation, can make their presence known before they make an exact situation, or maybe their presence isn't felt until after they left. Like they left a little something and it made ripples and waves. And it's different for everybody in your chart. You have different placements and planets and signs and houses. So this is general. And if you'd like to know more about your chart, you can check out my website, EurekaAstrologyandHealing.com, where I offer birth chart consultations. I do synastry chart consultations, the year head consultations, and also health and wellness consultations too. But that is not so much with the astrology. That's more with herbs. But with that, just remember, this is broad. Now, let's get into it, because this one really excited me as I started to look at the chart and the themes and the stories, and there is one strong theme that unfolds. Before that, I just want to talk about notables of the aspects and energies. First notable, it's a full moon. Sun's in Pisces, and remember in astrology it's across, so Virgo, moon. They're across from each other. That's what makes it a full moon. And so in astrology, these are energies that complement each other's in some ways, because they fill in the gaps for the others, and sometimes they play tug of war, and for me, I mean, obviously it's going to go for everybody differently because it depends on how their chart goes. But when I first saw it, I didn't feel the tug of war. After looking at some of the different deeper themes and energies, I was like, I think this is actually going to be a complementary energy in this time. But overall, let's remember, Pisces, there's more than just the sun in Pisces right now. There's a few other planets. So dreaming, visioning, creating, dancing, universal love, going with the flow. It's so much more than that, but it's just, being open, being available, and just letting things come through, right? Whereas Virgo, not necessarily so open, and I want to say it's closed, but it's, linear. It wants a direct direction. It wants perfection sometimes, organization. It can deal with health and service, and Pisces can deal with service too. They're on a service axis, but this is of individual service to others and the very immediate and close around them. It's not like I'm giving everything to everybody. It's like, how can I help you? Next to me, how can I help you? That kind of thing. So those are the overall arcing energies for this full moon, because you always have to take, that's like going to be the strongest thing that we feel for sure. Moving into it, so we have, like I said, other like planets in Pisces, and that's going to be a strong theme of that Piscean energy. It's going to be beautiful, but there's this background hum that I feel in the chart, and what makes me say that is I'm looking at Aries here. That's the background hum. And so when I say that, think about when you get into a car and you start your car, if it's not a newer electric one, there's a hum of an engine. Sometimes it's louder, sometimes it's quieter, but I feel like this is like a moderate hum here. The two benefic planets, Venus and Jupiter, meaning like they're beneficial usually, are in Aries. But not just that, there's 3 asteroids there, and I feel like that really brings the hum up. It's like, okay, we're not in Aries season yet, but there's already a strong presence there. And I was like, okay, if this hum had a message, or was like in the background of everything that's going to be going on I'm going to talk about, it was the fortune favors the bold. Like, get out there and take a risk, really was what kind of on yourself. With Venus and Jupiter they're sandwiching in Chiron. It's like, go ahead. Don't be afraid anymore. Take that risk on yourself. And, the hard part for Aries is it's just afraid of the risk. Maybe it's afraid of succeeding. Maybe it's afraid of failing. Maybe it's afraid of getting hurt, right? Like Aries is about making sure we survive. So if there's those fears, like where's your fear in that Aries energy of like the self and getting what the self needs? Also, and putting the self out there. It's like saying, get out there, do it. And the energies, like another thing to a notable is that energies are going forward now. Like the planets are picking up speed, and Mercury's well out of its shadow, running along, and Mars is just about to get out of its shadow. And Mars has been, I mean, that's been since the end of August that it's been going over the same degrees. Like, and for Mars, that's not, you know, it only happens every 2 years or so. It's been kind of stunted. We're about to like just take out of the gates here. So take a risk on the self. I think it's really important. And then the next notable, which it just has to be said, and it totally weaves into Raven Caldera's name for the moon, is Saturn. Saturn's in the room, right, so to speak, and or I should say Saturn's about to leave its room or its house. So Saturn is in Aquarius at the time of this full moon at 6:40 a.m. It's at 30 degrees of Aquarius. And for those who don't know astrology, there's 30 degrees in a sign. So what it says, it's the last stop. It is about to, like, its foot is out the door. And some planets move very quickly. Saturn is not the quickest moving planet. It's not the slowest moving planet, but it takes about 2.5 years to get through a sign. And for the last, you know, about 5 years, it's been in the two signs that it's its home, right? It's been comfortable. Now, as we all know, the last 5 years have not been exactly comfortable, and that's because of other planets that have been aspecting Saturn along the way, and there have been plenty, let me tell you, in both Capricorn and Aquarius. And so in some ways, it'll be kind of getting out of the hot seat of tenuous aspects. On the other part, though, what have we been doing in these 5 years? We have been looking over authority, right? When it was going through Capricorn, structure. What do we need to, what dirty, rotten foundation do we need to get out of there so we can have a strong, healthier foundation? That was more of the earthy element. Then in Aquarius, the social structures, and just figuring out what we need for that, and also shining our individual light in a way that's unique. Like, okay, where do I become responsible for my individuality and putting that out there, you know, and collectively supporting the collective. All that energy, what you've been working on, you know, it's kind of solid now, whatever it has been, and Saturn's not going to be revisiting it in, you know, a direct fashion again for like 26 years. So that's, I mean, a huge shift, and we are going to be feeling this before this full moon for certain. But what's crazy is that an hour afterwards, it's moved into Pisces. That's it. Like, and so it's like really at that last step, and I just feel like it's making a statement within this chart in this day, and I feel like this is a very powerful day. And so I looked at the Sabian symbol for the 30 degrees of Aquarius, right? Aquarius is a very, it is service oriented, especially to the whole collective. Like, it's like, I want to help this get, you know, better, right? How can we be innovative and make this better, right? And so there was a long, lengthy description, but the keyword was continuity. And where it came from is that, like, understanding our place in the universe in perfection. Like, how is the universe there for us, and how are we there for it? How are we serving it and it's serving us? And just doing this beautiful dance, right? It's like, how do we rely on it? How does it rely on us? And that's like a big thing, because it's okay, I may rely on you, you may rely on me. But then, you know, you think about it, okay, I rely on my community. My community may rely on me for my gifts. And then you go bigger, you know, the country, the world, the universe. Like, it's this whole, and this is very Piscean, like, it's just all, you know, like the smallest of the molecules is affecting the biggest of things. And it was really like the main story of this degree is self-illumination through exceptional service to others. And what is a Virgo full moon? What is Virgo? It is exceptional service to others. It is done in this perfect, not, it doesn't be perfect, this beautiful, very structured, what seems almost perfect way. That's exemptionally. And it's not asking for anything back either. It knows that the service is part of a cycle and a circle. Now, the more negative, or than the negative energy kind of way of this degree is just kind of mindlessly chasing after rainbows, you know, living in the fantasy, going, oh yeah, I'm gonna do this, this, and this, and scattering the self and maybe buying into something that's not gonna really serve the people and the things around you. And I mean, this totally sums up this full moon, right? That, like, getting lost in the fantasy, that's Pisces. But then the full moon is the exceptional service. So, like, trying to make sure you find that balance is a really wonderful thing. Now, let's go a little deeper, right? We're talking about service. Let's talk about the name from Raven Caldera's moon phase astrology book, and that's the spinner's moon. And there's so much I want to say. I mean, he wrote a beautiful chapter on it. Like, every word to me just like sang, and it made me feel really glowing about this moon. Some of the moons are more challenging. And this one is like, it's the zenith of perfection, of mastery. No longer is like we did, 6 months ago, we had the new moon, right, in Virgo, and that was the maiden's moon. It was unexperienced or inexperienced. It wanted to retreat more. It was felt like, oh gosh, things are demanding. I kind of need to pull away. I don't have as much energy to do this, or maybe I don't have all the skills yet. This moon has the skills. This moon also has the ability to say, I can serve now, and I'm going to do this for X amount of time. But now, also after that, I'm going to retreat for a bit and rest. Knowing the balance of one to go in and out, like that's a huge gift, right? So on this moon, recognize when it's time to give, receive, and to rest. One huge thing. It's just so beautiful. But I want to read a full paragraph from this book, and like I said, it's from Raven Caldera's New Moon Phase Astrology book, and I think there's a lot I want to say about it, and I'm going to try not to actually, but I think it is something for all of us to think about, is how we view service, because this moon largely deals with service to others. And we all have our own personal views, beliefs, biases about services. It depends on your chart and just like your upbringing and all these things, but I think it's worth noting. So this paragraph begins. The spinner has come a long way from the maiden who only wanted to be alone. She has learned the sacredness of the web of obligations. Today it is fashionable to do everything you can to be obligated to no one, a situation that our ancestors would have found incredible. The network of obligations between people was what held you up when everything went down. You owed people, and people owed you, and this was wealth, not merely debt. 10 people working separately side by side do not get as much done as 10 people working together, and this is the lesson that the solitary Virgo moon has had to learn. I mean, I could have just read that and not even done the whole chart. I feel like this whole reading, it just really moved me. And now, unfortunately, after the earthquake, when it said when everything goes down, like this is where we're at. And so what do we do when, having those networks build up, when things do go down, say you help someone 3 weeks ago, 2 years ago, and you haven't needed anything from them yet. And it's not about you doing it like, well, hopefully one day they'll pay me back. It's like, I'm here. I can help you with my mastery, right? And then that person recognizing your generosity and your skills and talents. And then the day that you need that help, they show up with their mastery and their skills because they have that skill set. This is what this moon is about. I mean, to me, it's also very Aquarian, right? Where that Saturn is at. And this is why it weaves all in. It's like giving without demanding, but giving from a place knowing that this is how things stay healthy. And I'll bring it back to what I was talking about with Pisces. Like, if you do something for your neighbor and your neighbor does something for you, and we all did that. I always say, if I do nice things for the people around me and they did nice things for the people around them, and then, it spreads to the web. I'm not saying the world will be perfect, but think we gave from a place of that kind of love, and that we also received when we could receive. That's huge. And that's what this moon is about. And so if you want to incorporate this into your life, take a step back. Did that, challenge you, that phrase, that whole statement? Did it make you sing? Did it make you want to commit more to how you give and receive as far as your services? Do you want to take on an apprentice? Where's your mastery at? And can you share that with others? Because this is a mastery moon. Like, you have somewhere, like, honor and celebrate where you have become a master. Everyone is a master of something. I truly believe it. And celebrate it and share it. And then that wealth continues on, and it continues weaving into the cycle. And that makes my heart sing. Now, I'll go into just a brief bit of aspects because there are plenty, but I don't want to get too boggy into it. So there's some harmony here with Uranus to the sun and the moon. And Uranus is in Taurus, right? Resources. So to me, this could say that at this time, we can figure out unexpected ways to use our resources when we're trying to do this service, or create and imagine with that Pisces how we can bring those services into the world. We might find places where, like, I didn't know I had that resource, right? Could have come out of the blue. It could be unexpected. Or you've had this thing sitting by your side for years, and all of a sudden you realize, oh, this isn't useless. This is useful. And, you turn it into something even more beautiful. So unexpected resources may be coming your way, or ways that you can use resources in a different way, in an innovative way, right? Now, there is some tension to be noted. Of course, full moons sometimes really agitate people because, Virgo is not just all, roses. Virgos can really overthink. So there might be some over analyzing, being overly critical, wanting things to be too perfect. And what I'll say is be cautious of that. And Mars is making a square or a tense aspect to both the sun and the moon. So Mars is trying to kind of get things going, but I could see it being either agitating the mind, people that's starting to really overthink things and trying to get things done and like, oh, I need to help everybody. It's like, whoa, calm down, bring it down. But also there could be harsh words, Gemini will be like, well, we should do this, this, and this, and like, why are you doing that? Like, get out of the dream, like Pisces. And Virgo, you're not doing enough, like, to get us where we want to go. But then it like tries to do 10 other things, like, oh, you started that, we're going to start this too. So try not to get that overwhelmed and try not to, verbally go after people, and try not to let other people verbally go after you. I always think of like, a sharp kind of verbal attack when Mars is hanging out in Gemini and making tense aspects, and could be agitating the emotions, right? That's the moon. So with that, I just feel like to me, it's a beautiful full moon. Doesn't mean that there aren't aspects that couldn't make it challenging. There's some huge shifts, like I said, Saturn happening there, and just like this moment of realizing that we're all connected, but we contribute and others contribute to us. So enjoy it. With that, I'm Jennifer at Eureka Astrology and Healing. If you like what I do, hit like, subscribe, check out my website, eurekaastrologyandhealing.com, for all of my services. May the stars guide you and the plants ground you. Ciao for now.